everyone. Panda here with Brandon. Brandon, what game are we doing today?
Today we're doing Nessos. It's a 3 to 6 player game, 20 minutes. There's two designers that designed this game. One is Toshiki Arao, and the other is Takaki. That may not actually be how it's pronounced his name. It's Takaki Sayami. He's actually the cousin of Takashi 69. You can look that up, that's true. One thing I want to say before we begin is, for some reason, I thought the name of this game was Mikos. Like the whole time, even when I've been talking to you, I've been saying...
Yeah, and every time you said Mikos, I'm like, wait, I've never heard of this game. What?
And on the way here, I even came up with this great joke where you were going to introduce it, say Mikos, and then I was going to go, all set! But now that whole joke is ruined. For the most part, this is a bluffing game. We played it with, I think was it 5 people that first time?
Yeah, I believe we had 5 or 6. It was either maxed out or one behind maxed out.
Yeah, we played it just recently before we started recording with 3 players. With 5 players, it's pretty decent. With 3 players, it was like completely unfulfilling and just ended like pretty much really, really quickly. I'm not sure, maybe we're playing it wrong, but yeah, it was just like, yep, that's it. Like that was how quick it played. For a bluffing game though, the interesting thing about it is the game has 2 different types of cards. They have numerical cards, I believe it's 1 through 10, and then they have green cards, which are supposed to represent, I guess, some kind of monster. And what you do is you just simply take a card from your hand, hand it to somebody. If it's a numbered card, you have to tell the truth. And if it's a green monster card, you can lie about it. If a person gets 3 green cards, they will then be out of the game. If there are 9 throughout the entire game, then the game ends. There's other end game conditions as well, but essentially you're trying to get to a certain point score. For the most part, I found that this game, with the way it functions, the fact that you can only bluff when you have a green card, I felt like that was antithetical to the entire idea of a bluffing game. I mean, what do you think?
We did play it right. At 3 players, it definitely plays crappy because the starting player is automatically out of the round. If you're the first player token with the vase, and you start off saying this is a 9, if Brandon were to, and we had another player, say cameraman or camera girl, was also playing the game, Brandon could only pass a camera girl or camera boy and the same, so forth. So the starting player is instantly out of the game. So at 3 players, it just limits your possibilities too low. But as a bluffing game, me and Brandon kind of hit differently on this. I feel like the bluffing aspect of it, if you made it to where you could bluff every single card, it just changes the aspect too much of it. But for a bluffing game, yeah, there's only one situation where you can bluff, and that's if you have there's a name for them. They're not monster cards. They're
Cahombra or something? Shambra?
Yeah, while you're continuously talking, I'm going to look it up because I want to tell them
there's
that
a
it
name for the deck itself.
The Sharon cards.
Yeah, Sharon. So given that experience, I felt like the whole bluffing mechanic was limited. I mean, I'm sure they're going for a certain thing. He came up with the reason why it's probably limited is that if you don't, so say you pass a card and you're lying, then how are you basically penalizing them if you're passing them a number card?
Well, yeah, because the rule is, so if I'm passing him a 10, and it's a 10, and he accepts it, he gets the 10 points. If I'm passing it to him and he accepts it and it's a Sharon card, then he gets the negative, you get 3 Sharon cards, you're out of the game. Now, what if I'm passing him a numerical card, say it's a 9, but I say this is an 8. And he's like, okay, I'll accept it, and it's actually a 9. Do I get it would just give too many people, like, you're going to lie every time because you're going to want the points to win the game. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it's just another fancy way of making bullshit. The old school game bullshit. They just took bullshit and added a Greek face to it.
Interesting side note. When I was in school, we used to play bullshit, but we couldn't say bullshit because we were in school. So I used to say, I doubt that. That was the rendition that we would use.
I doubt it. Well, anyway, let's rate this game.
So I gave it a 1 thumbs down. I do think it's a fun game. Just how the bluffing mechanic is limited, I don't feel like there's enough of a buy-in based on that you can only bluff when you get a green card. I just don't feel like it's I'm not enough of a buy. I do really like you'll see this in the when we go into the dive, the first player tokens. I really like that. That's a really cool thing. It's basically like this little vase or vase or what, I don't know what the.
I thought it was a chalice until cameraman corrected me.
Some kind of shit
with their constantly having to be right attitude. So
one
it is
thumb
a
down.
boss.
I give the first player. So the first player token gets 1 thumb up, but the game itself gets 1 thumb down.
And I am getting attacked from cameraman. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I do like the game. One, there's more players. That 3-player game, this game's a 2 thumbs down. It almost feels broken. It's like you almost don't have any options. But with more players, I'll give it a thumbs up. I don't know. I do enjoy bluffing games a lot. It is a little hard, like I said, from Gamestas ton, we don't get to lie all that often. We're kind of telling the true species, so it's kind of hard for us to lie, but it's an enjoyable game. Let's dive in, like you said. All right, so this is really the layout of the game. It's a simple game. There's not much to it. This is a little vase. I don't know if they change per which one you buy, if it's actually cut out of wood or if they all look the same, but it comes with a little vase. These are the Charon cards that you do not want to get. You get 3 of these, you're eliminated in the game. And then each card has a different mythical Greek. So there's Medusa, here's Pegasus, this is Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, a Phoenix, I forget, the Minotaur.
I've never actually noticed that
name them
before.
all, but yeah, this is the only one I can't name. I think it's
the satyr?
Yeah, it's like a Baphomet looking thing. It's a horse man.
Yeah, the goat guy.
Yeah,
Satyr.
Yeah, and they're called like Harry Potter's got a different name for them. Do 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 do.
Yeah, the cool thing is,
Ow!
if you get 1, 2, and 3, it's equal to 10 points, which I thought was an interesting way of counterbalancing the uselessness of a 1, 2, and 3 in this game.
Of the smaller cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really the layout of it. It's not much to it.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, nothing really I can add to that. That's pretty much the game. Again, I think the first player token looks really nice. I'm really into that. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it.
So we did get clarification. It is a vase, and we know that from Hercules.
Yep, Nutty Professor.
Well, I'm going to pass it off to the Nutty Professor.
Yep. So that's the game. We did forget to include. So what was the price that you said that you paid?
I paid $10 from it at our local store. Always support your local stores. Amazon's a multi-billionaire corporation.
I think it actually just went trillion.
It's something stupid expensive. Look, if you want to buy board games, pay the extra $3, $4, $5. Buy them from your local stores. Support your local businesses. These shops are going out of business constantly. Support them. Amazon's got enough money, or buy games that you can't find at your local store off Amazon. But please check your local stores first.
Yep, that was his FLGS endorsement for the. It might be for the season or the year. We're not sure yet. We'll get back to you on that. And then we also wanted to include, how many times we played it. So I played it 3 times, 2 times with the 5-player group, and then 1 time with the 3 players. You said you played it 5 times, right?
5 or more. I've played this game quite a few times, trying to get a feel of it, because I do enjoy it. Especially when you buy a new game, you kind of want to play it a few more times.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna end up on my shelf though, just because we go through so many other games.
It's just one of those games that you pull out and be like, hey, let's just try this for a little bit, play it once, and then put it back on.
Yeah, and then randomly, if you're doing a barbecue or you're drinking, it's a late night with friends, you're like, oh, what else do you got? You know, this might be a game that comes off your shelf.
Yeah. So in that context, I gave it 1 thumb down, he gave it 1 thumb up, which is weird, because I'm the person that likes short games, he's the guy that likes the long games. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there anything you wanted to say before we, anything in general?
No.
Okay. So just to remember, we have the Twitter for, that'll be Real Nerd Nebula, and then we also have Board Game Bruh, that's me. I haven't been updating as much, but maybe I should. And also for the, just want to make sure that you like, subscribe. And why aren't you wearing a suit? Because I wore a suit to this thing. And, I didn't choose the cardboard. The cardboard chose me. Oh yeah, carrots and peas.
Carrots and peas.